So this is my next project, the Multiplex Easystar 3. I'll convert it to FPV later on, and it'll get a flight controller and an INAV setup, and I hope I'll finish it before the INAV 3.0, so that it will be I will be able to trim it according to the new trim features we see in INAV 3.0. I just wanted to show you guys what's in the box, because this thing is pretty neat. As you can see, we have the two fuselage halves here, and the rear is actually, the rear part here is actually cut out a little, but the whole thing, when it will be later glued together, it will be pretty stiff. We have a top-mounted motor here, although I won't use the motor that is recommended for the plane. The motor that is recommended for the plane will get into this recess on the top, but as I'll use a quad motor, a T-motor F60, which is 30 grams lighter than the one they were recommending, it will sit behind the bulkhead, and where the normally the motor would sit, I'll set the ESC, which is a 51 amp luminaire quad ESC. This thing won't draw much current. I think I won't see more than 30 amps or so, as I'm planning to use the stock prop on it, which is, by the way, included in the box, and is an MPX 7x6 folding prop. And I'll eventually try a few other props later on, but this will be my go-to setup for starters. Then you have a few bits in it. As you can see, the canopy, motor, here the bulkhead for the motor. By the way, the quality of the plastics is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The stock spinner won't be applicable for my motor setup, because it is designed for a 3.17 millimeter motor shaft, and I have a quad motor, so it'll need a 5 millimeter spinner. I'll show you that one later. So and a few plastic bits in here, just to just to show you. It's ABS, but it's pretty good quality. Just have a look at the control horns here. This is a beginner's plane. This is pretty small at 1.25 meters wingspan. There is probably not much torque for the servos needed, but just look at these control horns. I mean, this is heavy quality. It will be screwed from the underneath with a counterplate, and then we'll have some sort of these bits put inside. Just a second. One of these will go in there, and we'll put the rod through, and we're done. Pretty good quality, and there is almost everything in the box you need regarding hardware, even the extensions for the wing servo leads. I'm not that much of a fan of those plug connections, but I'll use these anyway, as I want a ease of use build. The whole plane is pretty good quality for the price. It's 80 euros for the kit, and considering the fact that the prices for Chinese foam went up to the moon right now, and we pay probably something around 200 euros for a standard P&P kit of Chinese foam with questionable quality of electronics. This one is a pretty good steal, and the amount of brain matter that actually went into this plane is astonishing. It is the third version of the Easystar, the first version that has ailerons aileron capability from the factory. I had two of the first ones, and I managed to successfully crash both of them, but that's a few years ago. This one is pretty refined. Just look at this detail here. You see, of course, up here is the recess for the two wing halves. And this is a little dirt here. No, doesn't matter that much. Here we have two arrow cutouts for cooling air, because we have a ram air intake here, and the second one here for motor and ESC, and the electronics will be cooled by the air that comes inside here and will get out here. And if you compare the square size of the two of inlets and outlet, you'll see you won't build up pressure inside the hull, so I won't have any freaky altitude readings on my FC. And look at this one. This is actually, this cutout here is actually the place for my rudder servo, and on the other side for my elevator servo. These are completely hidden when installed. Just to show you this one, this is one of the servos that will go in it. It's a Votic 9495 MGD, the ones I already reviewed. Just look at this. They, of course, the cable is a little in the way. If I have a second hand free, this will work a little better. Just for you, for the illustration. It'll sink in. Completely flat in. Of course, the other way around is the way they intended it to be. And then you have this, this hatch put in here, and it's flush. Not that flush because I I installed the servo the wrong way around, but normally it would be completely flush and completely hidden. We have a Bound cable that runs all through to the back, and then you have your complete rudder and elevator setup, which is pretty brilliant. The other hardware is here. Here are the Bowden cable outsides, a few tubes for strengthening the fuselage, the metal cables inside. We have the wings with the cutouts for the servos. My servos are a little bit bigger than they intended to install, so I'll have to cut a little, but it's just minor cosmetic cutting. The places for the control horns are pretty well molded, and they will work out pretty nice. In the wing root, we have the place for the poor man's MPX multi plugs, just to attach the wing in the field with no hassle. And we have some sort of a puzzle style wing locking mechanism. If you see the two here, they lock together. You just push the wings into the fuselage and they'll lock together with no problem. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Regarding the equipment I intend to use, I already showed you the servos. I will use a Maytag F722 WPX flight controller for it. It will get, of course, crossfire. The 4 servos you've seen, those are actually a little heavier than the ones they recommend. I'll add around 30 grams just for the servos. And this is a glider type plane. Not ideal, but I'll save a good amount of weight, because the intended or the recommended motor is a lot heavier, and of course, since this is an LOS plane, the ESC they intend to use is a lot heavier than the 8 grams 50 amp ESC I am actually using. Yeah, T-motor F50, F60, 1750 kV, and probably, I'm not quite decided about this yet, but probably, since this is a relaxed build, a 3S 18650 VCT6 lithium-ion cell battery, and it's a slow plane. It's for relaxed soaring, and yeah, I won't need batteries capable of insanely high currents. So the advertised 30 amps on launch will be more than enough, I think. And later on, well, this thing can be in the air with a stock battery that has 2000 milliamp hours on 3S for 1 hour easy. And if I go lithium ion with 1000 milliamps more, then I'll have 1.5 hours of flight time, which is more than enough for a slow plane like this. FPV wise, I'll use a Runcam Phoenix 2 Nano, an AKK Ultimate Mini VTX, which I had found in my parts bin, and the servos I already showed you. This one is pretty interesting. Of course, since I use a quad motor, I have to use a different spinner. This is a Reisenauer system. It has a 5mm diameter, which will be then locked with those little screws you see there on top and below. It's a 32 diameter, and the 32 diameter links up with the motor pretty well, if I find it. Just a second. This is the motor, and it links up with the motor pretty well. You see it's pretty flush, and since this will go behind this bulkhead, I don't have that much of an aerodynamic sacrifice. Yeah, I'm thinking about adding a HD cam. I have a Runcam 5 Orange laying around that may be working with that canopy here. Just a few cutouts, and maybe this will work out pretty good. Let's see. Overall impression of the plane is brilliant. Value for money is even more brilliant if I would give 6 stars in a 5-star rating system, as I pretty much love this plane. It's pretty agile for a beginner's plane. It is absolutely rewarding fun because you just throw it in the air and it flies. And the really nice thing about this is absolutely the price. It's 80 euros. It's a steal. If you live in Europe, you have absolutely no reason to buy a Bixler from Hobby King, which is not that refined, which is also a good plane, but not that refined. The same applies to the Volantex Ranger 1.6, I think is the smaller one. It's also a very good plane. It's easy to fly, but it's evenly not that refined. And this one helped thousands of children to learn RC flying for decades. So if you are new to FPV wings or planes, which is the correct expression for this one, if you're new to FPV fixed wing flying, you should start with this one. There's also, of course, a sticker sheet in the box. I won't show you that because it's ugly as hell. This one will get a paint job with plasti dip spray, probably navy blue or something. We'll see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. First impression of the Multiplex Easystar 3. Nice little plane. I'll show you more of the details when the build is done. And of course, in the third part of this series, we'll be flying this thing. Thanks for watching.